Clement is here with the newspapers. Of course, the newspapers are dominated a lot, aren't they, today, Clement, by North Korea, the threat to strike the US territory of Guam.
That's right. Many papers are leading on this story today, but I wanted to have a look at what local papers in Guam are saying about this to see how local residents are reacting. And I found this editorial in the Guam Daily Post. The headline reads, "Residents can only hope the US missile defense system will protect Guam." Now, there are 162,000 people living on the island, which is located some 2,500 kilometers east of the Philippines. And local residents are, unsurprisingly, very worried. In its editorial, the Guam Daily Post says the ball is now in Trump's court to protect the island. Tempting North Korea means putting Guam in harm's way, they write, hoping that the US military will protect Guam if war breaks out.
You found countries in Asia very worried, haven't you, about being collateral victims, if you like, of this verbal spat between North Korea and Donald Trump.
Absolutely. The Philippine Star writes that the region is likely in greater peril than it might prefer to think, and says its fate is now in the hands of two, I quote, madmen. The paper argues that the Philippines, definitely within range of North Korea's clumsy rockets, could be hit by stray missiles, and goes on to slam Donald Trump for his irresponsible behavior on any TV show, they write. Trump is free to make threats, but as a US president, he should not make threats without making sure he's ready to deliver on them. The Guardian agrees, saying that, quote, careless talk costs credibility and perhaps lives. The British paper says that Trump's threats at a time when US diplomats, including the Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, are seeking to appease tensions, are indeed irresponsible and undermine the credibility of the US and its ability to find a peaceful solution to the crisis.
Let's move on to Kenya for this next story. At least 3 people have died there in post-election clashes amid claims that the electronic voting systems there were hacked.
That's right, and the headline on the Independent's front page speaks for itself. It reads, "Democracy turns deadly in Kenya." Kenya's Electoral Commission has denied claims by the opposition that its IT systems were hacked, but this hasn't stopped thousands of Kenyans from taking to the streets. Many fear a repeat of what happened 10 years ago, the post-electoral violence that killed more than 1,000 Kenyans and displaced hundreds of thousands. Kenyan papers this morning are urging calm. Daily Nation writes that the Electoral Commission must now provide all the relevant documents it has promised and fully investigate the hacking claims to calm fears. The Kenyan paper concludes that failure to do so would put the country on the path towards self-destruction.
Got some blame for you on the programme now. This is the contaminated egg scandal, continuing, of course, to spark fear here in Europe. This is Belgium blaming it on the Netherlands.
Everything is apparently the fault of the Dutch, reads this headline in Dutch paper NRC Handelsblad. Belgium has accused the Netherlands of failing to raise the alarm after discovering that eggs had been contaminated with fipronil as early as last November. Now, the Dutch Food and Goods Watchdog says they indeed received a tip-off that the toxic insecticide had been used to clean chickens, but said that at the time there was no indication that the chemical was also present in eggs. German paper Süddeutsche Zeitung, meanwhile, reveals that the European Union was informed of the presence of fipronil in Dutch eggs in early July. This after Belgium submitted an inquiry to the Netherlands via the EU Food Safety Agency. The European Commission had previously said they were only informed on July the 20th.
And here's the last story in the papers that we're going to cover for you. We're going to end in India. Women there have been sharing midnight selfies on social media with an unusual hashtag. That hashtag is Ain't No Cinderella.
Yes, and this is in response to a politician from India's ruling BJ party, the Hindu Nationalist Party, who said that a woman who was chased by 2 men should not have gone out so late. The victim from Chandigarh, northern India, says that the 2 men followed her car as she was driving home after midnight on Saturday and tried to kidnap her. The victim shaming, though, didn't go down so well, and women started the online campaign to defend their rights, saying they refused to be intimidated intimidated or told that they can't leave their house. And this tweet in the Hindustan Times, which you can see, reads, "Oops, it's 1:45 a.m. and I'm out on Delhi Road in short dress. Stop me if you can."
Yeah, nicely encouraged. Always a hot potato, isn't it? Sexual discrimination in India. Thank you very much, Clément Bonnereau there with the papers.